You ever sit in a room full of people, music humming, laughter everywhere, and feel like you have accidentally walked into someone else's life? That was me. Thursday night, 9:14 p.m. Corner of the rooftop at the Galloway Hotel. The only reason I remember the time is because I checked my watch for the sixth time and realized I had not spoken to my wife in almost an hour. Her name is Celine. Celine Prescott. Not a flashy name, but somehow she made it sound expensive. She used to be quiet, not shy, just thoughtful. But that was before Marlon and Blake. Before the job, before she started coming home with inside jokes I did not understand and perfumes I had not smelled before. The invitation was last minute. She told me that morning over burnt toast. I think you should come tonight. My team is throwing a mixer for Mr. Blake. It is kind of a big deal. Mr. Blake, the new co-owner. The one she said looked like someone from an indie movie she would not stop talking about. I said yes, of course. What husband does not show up when his wife says kind of a big deal? I wore the wrong thing. Khakis, loafers, a button-up that made me look like I was trying too hard. Everyone else looked curated, effortless in that way rich people somehow are. Meanwhile, I was sweating through the back of my shirt like it was high school picture day. She introduced me to a few people in a blur. This is Rory, she said with a polished smile. Not my husband, Rory. Just Rory. One guy nodded without even making eye contact. Another asked what I did, and when I said data audits, he immediately turned to talk to a woman in sequence. That was the extent of my welcome committee. And then she disappeared. No goodbye. No be right back. Just a slow walk across the floor toward a velvet booth where Mr. Blake was seated. She touched his shoulder when she leaned in. Whispered something. He laughed. She stayed. I watched drink untouched in my hand. Jaw clenched. I was not angry. Not yet. I just felt stupid. Like someone who showed up to a play after the final act. A woman walked past me and muttered I thought he came alone. I do not think she meant for me to hear it. I left quietly. No scene, no note. Just walked out the way I came in, past the doorman who gave me a pity smile. And 10 minutes later, just as I was pulling out of the parking garage, her name lit up on my phone. Text message. One line. Come back, please. She had acted like I did not exist all night. But now, suddenly, I mattered. I stared at the message. Car still in park. And for reasons I still cannot explain, I did not respond. Not yet. I did not go back. Not that night. I drove aimlessly for a while. Ended up in a Taco Bell parking lot at nearly midnight. I just sat there with the engine running and the same message open on my phone. Come back, please. No emoji, no follow-up. Like she assumed those 3 words would undo the 2 hours she spent pretending I was not breathing the same air. What stuck with me most was not the text. It was the timing. She sent it exactly 9 minutes after I left. Not 3, not 29, like something had happened or was about to happen. And for a split second, I had a sick thought. Did I interrupt something just by being there? I did not answer her. I did not block her either. I just watched the text fade further down my screen as the clock pushed into early morning. Eventually, I drove home. She was not there. I did not expect her to be. When I unlocked the front door, our dog Winnie did not even bark. She just gave me that confused look dogs give when you are home at the wrong time. I grabbed a blanket from the hallway closet and crashed on the couch. My mind was loud, but my body was done. It felt like I had run a marathon just standing still. She came home around 3:40 a.m. I know because the lock clicked and I half opened one eye. She stood in the entryway like she was not sure whether to come in or walk back out. Her heels were in her hand. Her makeup looked blurred, not smudged like crying, more like it had been kissed off or wiped off in a hurry. She did not see me on the couch. She went straight upstairs, quiet as a whisper. I did not say anything. I just listened. Closet doors, a drawer, the bathroom faucet, her phone buzzing twice, and then silence. In the morning, she acted like she had just come back from a jog. She was already up when I walked into the kitchen, hair tied back, coffee brewed, phone face down. She did not say good morning. Just you did not come back. I looked her dead in the eyes and asked, why did you text me? She did not blink. Because he left. That is not a reason. She shrugged. That same damn shrug that used to seem cute when we were dating. Now it felt like a deflection. She looked down into her mug like it held the answer she did not want to say out loud. Then she finally spoke. Blake asked where you were. Blake, her boss. That same Blake she laughed with like they shared a secret language. The same one who touched the small of her back like he owned it. She made it sound like the only reason she cared I left was because Blake noticed I was gone. I felt my throat go dry. Did he say anything else? She looked at me for a long moment. Then he said you seemed distant. I wanted to laugh. I was distant. I was not the one orbiting another man like a planet caught in his gravity. I was not the one who introduced my own husband like a footnote, but I did not say that. I just said right. She reached for her phone and tapped something quickly. Her fingers were shaking, but she tried to hide it by brushing her hair back. Then she said you overthink things, Rory. You always have. It was not the first time she had said that. But this time, IT did not feel like an observation. It felt like a weapon. She kissed me on the cheek before leaving for work. A soft robotic kiss like the kind you give someone in front of your parents when you are trying to keep up appearances. As the door shut behind her, I finally opened the browser on my phone and searched how to know if your wife is emotionally cheating. What came up next made my stomach twist. Half the signs were already true. The rest were lining up like dominoes. And there was one moment from the night before I had not fully processed yet. Something I only remembered now that I was alone, thinking too hard. When I left the event, I passed a table on the patio. A man in a silver jacket had been sitting there alone, watching everything. He looked right at me as I walked by and said, "Rough night, huh?" I nodded, not really thinking. But now I realized something. He was not on the guest list. And he was not holding a drink, just a phone facing the rooftop recording something or someone. And suddenly, I knew I had not just walked out of the party. I had walked out of a setup. I could not get his face out of my mind. That guy on the patio, silver jacket, phone angled like he was live streaming the apocalypse. He did not blend in with the rest of them. He was not schmoozing with cocktails or clapping at speeches. He just sat there like a ghost with a purpose. And when he looked at me and said, "Rough night, huh?" it was not sarcastic. It was not even sympathetic. It was like a man who already knew exactly what had gone down and maybe even why. Later that day, while Celine was still at work, I did something I had not done in years. I opened her old MacBook. It still had my Apple ID logged in from years ago, back when we used to share playlists and passwords and did not care who saw what. I was not snooping. Not at first. I just had this weird itch in the back of my brain that something was not adding up, and I could not sit around waiting for it to explode in my face. I had to know what I was dealing with, or at least who. That is when I saw it. The airdrop history, a file received 2 nights ago, the same night as the rooftop event from a device named MBGuest05. I opened it. A single video only 20 seconds long. No sound shot from an angle facing the Velvet Lounge area. The same booth where Celine had been with Blake. In it, you see her laughing. Then Blake reaches out and brushes something off her neck, except there is nothing there. She lets him. Does not even flinch. Then he leans in and whispers something, lips almost grazing her ear. She laughs again. Then he touches her knee. She does not move it. End of video. I stared at the screen like it was radioactive. I did not know what to feel first. Betrayal, confusion, nausea. The worst part was not that she let it happen. The worst part was how natural it looked. Like it was not the first time. I closed the laptop, breathing hard, hands cold. I was not crazy. I was not imagining things. That man on the patio, the one with the silver jacket, he had sent that video. And now the question was why. Was it a warning, a threat, a favor? I did not know, but I knew where to start. The hotel. That evening, I drove back to the Galloway. I was not expecting anything. Maybe just to retrace steps or calm the storm in my head. But as I pulled up, I spotted the silver jacket guy again. Same spot, different night, same phone. He saw me, smirked, then stood up like he had been waiting for me all along. You came back, he said. Took you long enough. Who are you? I asked, skipping the pleasantries. He extended a hand. Name is Elias. I do media work. I did not shake it. He nodded like he expected that. Your wife is interesting. She moves like someone who does not think she is being watched. I am not here for games, I said through clenched teeth. Neither am I, he replied, calm as ever. Let me ask you something, Rory. Did she tell you about the trip to Miami? What trip? He smirked again. Exactly. I stood there, heart pounding, fist aching to clench, but I held back. Elias pulled out his phone and tapped around. Your wife is not just working late, Rory. She is networking. She is building leverage. I wanted to punch him. I wanted to scream, but I said nothing because deep down I knew he was not lying. He showed me another video. This one inside a hotel room. Blurred faces, but one woman with the exact same blouse Celine wore that night. Her laugh was unmistakable. The video cut before anything explicit, but it did not need to go further. The body language said it all. I was dizzy. Not from the video, from how casual Elias was about it. What do you want from me? I asked. Nothing, he said. Just thought you should know. Guys like Blake do not change. And women like her, they do not come back unless they are afraid you found out. And then he left just like that. No threats, no blackmail. Just dropped that bomb and vanished into the city. When I got home, Celine was in the kitchen like nothing had happened. She asked if I wanted Thai or sushi. I told her I was not hungry. She looked at me, a flicker of suspicion in her eyes, and then she said, by the way, I might have a work trip coming up. Miami, of course. I nodded. Sure, let me know the dates, because now I was not just watching her. I was waiting. 3 days later, she left for the trip. It was not officially called Miami. It was a client's summit out of state, according to her words. But I checked the flight confirmation she accidentally left open on her iPad the night before. Miami, Florida. Departure 6:25 a.m. Return open-ended. Hotel listed. The same boutique beachfront resort Blake had posted from just 2 weeks earlier on the company internal social site. He tagged it Creative Recharge. She did not even bother changing the password to her tablet. That was her biggest mistake. I watched her pack like nothing was off. She triple-checked her outfits, counted how many swimsuits she would bring, stood in the mirror trying on 3 different necklaces before settling on one I had never seen before. A gift from someone probably not from me. I noticed her perfume was new too. Lighter, flirtier, the kind that leaves a trace on sheets and skin. Before she walked out the door, she hesitated like she thought she should say something. I stood by the kitchen island, arms folded, watching her like a stranger in my own house. She gave me a half smile and said I will call when I land. I did not answer. She left anyway, but I was not staying behind. I had taken time off work 2 days earlier without telling her. I booked my own flight to Miami under a different airline. I was not going to confront her. Not yet. I just wanted to see, confirm, erase all the doubts. Sometimes you have to get so close to the fire just to make sure it is real, even if it burns. I landed around 11 a.m. I did not check into a hotel. I waited in the airport Starbucks, ordered 2 coffees, and watched people come out of Terminal C until I saw her. She looked happy, not tired, not stressed. She walked like someone who was about to start a vacation, not attend a summit. Blake met her outside by a black car, not a taxi, not an Uber, a private driver. He hugged her too long, too low. She laughed, tossed her hair. He opened the car door for her like it was a date, not business. They pulled away. I followed in a rental car I had picked up that morning. When they arrived at the resort, there were no briefcases, no lanyards, no other colleagues in sight. Just champagne flutes waiting at the check-in desk. She accepted hers without even looking around. By 2 p.m., I had already seen enough to know what kind of trip this was. By 3 p.m., I had followed them to their room discreetly like I was not supposed to know what floor they were on, but I did. I overheard the front desk attendant say penthouse suite when they handed over the key. By 4 p.m., I had left a note at the front desk, not for her, for Blake. And by the time I got back to my car, I had a message from an unknown number. It read, "You are making a mistake, let her go, she is not yours anymore." I stared at the screen, hard, hammering like I had been sprinting for miles. I did not know if the message was from Blake or someone else. I did not respond, but I realized something terrifying in that moment. They did not just assume I did not know. They were betting on the idea that I would not do anything if I did. They thought I was weak. I went back to the airport that evening without ever letting her see me. When she texted me at 8:46 p.m., landed safe, long day already, talk soon, red heart, I did not respond. I did not need to because the next move was not going to come from her. It was going to come from me. And this time, I was not going to walk away quietly. The day after I returned from Miami, the silence between us felt radioactive. Celine got back 2 days later, suitcase lighter, face brighter, like someone who had just pressed restart on their soul. She walked through the door with a little white box in her hand and said, "I got you something." It was a linen shirt folded neatly, tropical print, tag still on, something she probably picked up at a boutique while holding Blake's hand, laughing at inside jokes, sipping overpriced cocktails with a view of the ocean. I held it in my hands and nodded. I did not say thank you. I did not look her in the eyes. And for the first time, I think she noticed that something was off. I was not being passive-aggressive. I was not being cold. I was being surgical, quiet, measured, careful. She asked if I wanted to have dinner. I said I had work. She asked if I was okay. I said I was tired. She did not push, which told me everything I needed to know. She had something to hide, and she was terrified of what I might already know. What she did not know was that while she was gone, I was not just waiting around. I was talking, connecting dots, pulling threads. I remembered something Elias said about leverage. That word stuck with me. Blake was not just having an affair. He was building something with her. And that meant they were not being stupid. They were being strategic. The lies were not random. They were rehearsed. I went through our shared storage account online, the one we used to dump files, tax forms, travel itineraries. Celine forgot I still had access. Or maybe she thought I would never check, but buried in a subfolder labeled Work Docs was a scan lease agreement. A luxury apartment in her name, not far from Blake's penthouse. Signed 2 weeks ago. Move-in date in a month. Rent $1,800 a month. She had not told me anything about moving. Not a word. But she had already planned her exit. It got worse. I dug deeper and found email threads between her and a property manager using her personal Gmail account. In one of them, she specifically asked about adding a second occupant after the first month of lease. She did not name Blake. She did not have to. He was already listed as an emergency contact, his phone number, his office email, his initials on the final page of the application. They were planning a life together without me. Not just a fling, not just hotel rooms and lies, a full relocation. She was going to leave me and never even tell me to my face. I felt like my ribs were made of glass. Everything inside me cracked at once. And yet I did not confront her. Not yet, because something told me this was not just about her betrayal. There was something else beneath all of this. A current I had not touched yet. I needed to know why. Why me? Why now? What made her decide to ruin a marriage so quietly and so completely? That night, I called Elias. He picked up on the second ring. I know they are planning something, I said. He paused for a moment. Then you are not wrong, he said. You said she was building leverage. What does that mean? I did not want to get involved this far, he said, but you are already in it. So, I will tell you this. Blake does not just sleep with women. He turns them into tools. He positions them, gives them titles, lets them believe they are rising until they are too deep to walk away. And Celine, she has been promoted twice in 6 months, has she not? No degree, no corporate background, but she suddenly has her name on press releases and internal briefings. I went cold. Yes, I said. That is not because she is smart. It is because she is obedient. The word hit me like a slap. I hated it. I hated him for saying it, but part of me already knew it was true. She had not just fallen for him. She bought into his system, sold herself into it willingly. And then Elias said one more thing. Did she tell you she is pregnant? I froze. What? I overheard Blake talking at that hotel bar. Said something about handling a situation before it gets messy. He was drunk, loud, not careful. I did not hear everything, but it was not just business. I felt like the air had been punched out of me. My knees almost buckled because 3 weeks earlier, Celine had casually mentioned she had skipped her period. Said it could be stress, travel, maybe hormones. She brushed it off. Said she would take a test if it did not show up in a few more days. And I had not thought anything of it. Now I did. And suddenly, I was not just a man watching his marriage die. I was a man staring into a question that could break what little was left of me. What if the child she is carrying is not mine? I did not cry. I did not scream. I just sat down in the kitchen, turned the lights off, and stared into the dark because I needed to know how far she had gone before I decided how far I would go. I was not planning revenge. I was planning an ending she would never see coming. And it would not be loud. It would be clean. I did not sleep that night. I lay on her bed, her side empty, staring up at the ceiling fan as it spun slow circles, trying to make sense of what I knew and what I suspected. The idea that she might be pregnant was already enough to short-circuit every sane part of my brain. But what Elias told me went beyond anything I was prepared to deal with. He made it sound like Celine was not just cheating. She was being used, and not by accident. The next morning, she was oddly affectionate. Made coffee, cooked eggs, even offered to drive me to work, something she had not done in years. I declined. I watched her closely. She moved lightly with ease, like she had gotten what she wanted, and now just had to act long enough for the pieces to fall into place. She kissed me goodbye and smiled as if the guilt had either been processed or buried so deep even she forgot it existed. The minute the door closed, I opened her laptop again. I was not looking for more evidence. I had enough to burn the whole house down, but something had been bothering me. Why the silence? Why had she not already made her move? She had the apartment, she had the affair, she had Blake. And yet she stayed, played wife, made eggs. That is when I found a folder titled Pinning Contracts hidden inside another labeled Personal Docs. Inside were PDFs, contracts from Blake's firm, all signed electronically. But one stood out. It was dated 2 months ago. A clause in it referenced a bonus package triggered by post-divorce executive transition. My name was literally listed as a bullet point. Rory Prescott spousal coverage buyout. My stomach dropped. They were not just planning to move in together. They were planning to monetize my divorce. It made sense now. She was not leaving yet because she needed to cross a few more lines on her checklist. Timing, publicity, legal shielding. I was not a husband anymore. I was a number and a file. A liability they were negotiating around. She was waiting for the right moment to cash out. The moment where everything would be done on their terms, not mine. But what she did not know, and what made me very dangerous now, was that I was not just reading her secrets. I was tracking her in real time. I had installed an app on her iPad, one she rarely used, but would share notifications and GPS history with her phone. Every step she took, I could see it. Her calls, her texts, not the contents, but the frequency, timestamps, and sometimes the metadata. And 2 nights later, she made a mistake. She told me she was going to visit her cousin Marcy in Buckhead. I nodded, did not question it, but within 20 minutes, her GPS pinged her at a parking garage downtown, same street where Blake's firm had a satellite office. Then she moved again into the tower up 12 floors. Then back down, then over to the Ritz-Carlton across the street, Suite 2410. She stayed there for over 4 hours. When she came home, I did not say a word, but I recorded everything, logged the times, matched the movement to her calendar, and something stood out. The morning before that, she had a doctor's appointment, OB/GYN. She did not mention it, just said she had some errands after work. That night, I watched from the bedroom as she entered something into her laptop. Her back was to me, shoulders stiff. She typed fast, nervous, clicked, paused, clicked again, then shut the screen. When she went to shower, I opened the lid, and there it was. A message draft. Address to Blake. Subject line confirmed. No body text, just that she had not sent it yet. She was waiting. That word confirmed. It echoed in my brain like a siren in a tunnel. She was pregnant, and she had not told either of us yet. I sat back, frozen. I did not feel hate. I did not feel rage. What I felt was worse. Cold clarity. That my marriage was now a stage play running its final scene. That everything I thought I knew about this woman was dead. She was not confused. She was not lost. She was calculated. She was going to announce the pregnancy, then the separation, then spin the narrative. She would probably have a press release ready, something about growth, new beginnings, mutual respect. She would paint me as the quiet, distant husband who did not fight for her, who never supported her dreams. She would twist the truth until people clapped for her, congratulated her on finding herself. But I was done letting her direct the story, and so I started writing my own version. It began with a visit to a lawyer. Not just any lawyer, divorce crisis management. The kind of team that handles high-conflict separations in private while gathering and securing every piece of leverage quietly. I showed them the lease, the contracts, the timelines, the metadata, even the folder with the word confirmed. They did not blink. They had seen worse. But what caught their attention, what really shifted the energy in the room was when I mentioned Elias, the man with the footage, the man who apparently had a few more clips. The team asked if I could get him to talk. I said yes, because what Celine did not know was that I was no longer trying to save the marriage. I was preserving my own future, and she was about to learn what happens when the man you thought was a footnote suddenly becomes the one writing the ending. It happened over dinner. Not a fancy setup, not a dramatic scene, just two people sitting at opposite ends of a kitchen table pretending not to be enemies. She had made pasta, her go-to comfort food that she cooked whenever something was heavy on her mind. That should have been the clue, but I played dumb. I cut my food slowly, drank water instead of wine, and waited for her to speak. She did not right away. She circled the topic like a shark waiting for blood. Small talk, light laughs, questions about my day, all the usual noise people use when they are too scared to say what matters. But I was not going to save her from the silence this time. I let it grow heavy, dense. I watched her try to chew through it, blink through it, sip through it. Then finally, she said it. There is something I have been meaning to tell you. I did not flinch. Go on. She looked down at her plate, twisting her fork like a nervous child. I found out something recently, and I was not sure how to bring it up, but I cannot keep it from you anymore. I did not say a word. I did not have to. She was already unraveling. I am pregnant. Her voice cracked on the second word, not from sadness, but from effort. She was trying to sound vulnerable as if it was some delicate gift she was offering when in reality it was a live grenade she had been hiding under the table. I took a slow breath. I know. She froze. The silence that followed was not confusion. It was calculation. She was recalibrating, trying to figure out how much I really knew and what I might do with it. What do you mean, you know? I said. I saw the email. I said the draft to Blake. You titled it confirmed. She did not speak. She did not deny it. She did not ask how I got access. That was all I needed. So I continued, setting my fork down. Is it his? Her lips parted like she was going to say yes. Then she shook her head. I do not know, a whisper. Honest for once, but still brutal. I leaned back in my chair, letting that answer settle between us. There was no anger in my face, no raised voice, just a look that said you have already said enough. And yet, she kept talking. It was not supposed to happen like this. It was not even supposed to be serious. At first, I just felt so invisible. Rory, you work, you read, you disappear into your screens. You never chased me. That was her truth. Her version. She was not the villain. I was. Not because I cheated. Not because I lied, but because I did not chase her down when she drifted. She expected the same man who trusted her to also doubt her, to fight her, to protect her from the choices she made herself. She continued, voice trembling. Blake saw me. He made me feel like I could be something more than just your wife. I did not mean to fall for him. I did not plan this. But you planned the apartment and the exit, I said flatly, her expression twisted. Do you love him? I asked. She hesitated. Then she nodded. That should have shattered me. It did not. Because in that moment, something inside me finally snapped into a place. A sense of release, of weight lifted. I did not have to wonder anymore. I did not have to play detective. The body was already on the table. I just had to write the report. I want a divorce, I said calmly. Her face did not contort in shock. She did not cry. She blinked a few times, then whispered, I figured, I will not fight you, but I also will not protect you, I added. She frowned. What does that mean? It means whatever comes next, press, contracts, fallout, that is on you. I have already hired a legal team, one that specializes in high-value splits with public-facing reputations. Yours and Blake's. Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. You cannot. I already did. For the first time since she sat down, I saw something close to fear on her face. I am not going to ruin you, Celine. I am going to free myself. What happens to you after that? IT is just collateral. She stood slowly. Are you threatening me? She asked. No, I said, rising to meet her eyes. I am reminding you that you do not own the story anymore. She backed away like the air had shifted, like the room was not hers anymore. And it was not. That night, she did not sleep in our bed. She did not speak another word. She walked into the guest room and closed the door gently, not slamming it like someone angry, but sealing it like someone who knew her chapter had ended. But what she did not know was that the next morning, I would do the one thing she never expected. I was going to take the story public, not out of revenge, out of truth. I had nothing left to lose. And that made me the most dangerous man in the room. The morning after I told her I was done, I woke up to silence. Not the tense, suffocating kind that had filled our home for weeks, but a silence that felt like breathing again. The kind you feel when a storm finally passes. She did not say goodbye when she left that morning. Just walked out the front door with her purse and her phone. And for once, she did not look back. And I did not chase. I did not call Elias. I did not dig for more. I did not post anything online. I did not need to, because winning was not about exposing her. It was about escaping the prison she tried to keep me in. I finalized everything with the legal team quietly. The moment she stepped into that new apartment, the papers were served. The divorce was filed under mutual separation. No press, no scandal. But I had taken the necessary steps to protect everything I had built. My savings, my business, my dignity. I had been cautious, thorough. I did not let pain make me reckless. And because of that, I walked away with everything she thought I would lose. A few weeks later, I got a letter from her lawyer. She wanted to settle quickly. No disputes, no negotiation, just out. I signed it the same day, and when I did, I felt something break loose inside me. Not grief, not sadness, but freedom. I sold the house, took the dog, moved to a different city, smaller, quieter. I got a place near a lake where the mornings start with still water and no one knows your name unless you want them to. I took up hiking again, got back into playing music, reconnected with people I had not spoken to in years. Not because they left, but because I had been too busy holding up a marriage that was not holding me back. It was holding me down. And then one day, a message came from her. Simple. Just, I hope you are doing okay. I think about you a lot. I did not answer. Not because I hated her. I did not. Not even close. In fact, I was grateful. She broke me in a way that forced me to rebuild. She hurt me in a way that taught me to pay attention, not just to people, but to myself. And she taught me the most valuable lesson I will ever carry. You do not have to destroy someone to rise. Sometimes you just have to walk away when it costs you everything and trust that peace is worth the price. 6 months later, I met someone. Not through apps, not in a bar, just life. A bookstore. A shared glance. A conversation about the smell of old pages. Her name is May. She is kind. She listens more than she speaks. And when she laughs, IT is never forced. I told her everything, not in one dump, but piece by piece. And instead of looking at me like a man broken by the past, she looked at me like a man who survived it. Now we walk every evening by the lake. No secrets, no games, just real life, one slow breath at a time. So, if you are reading this, maybe you are where I was. Let me tell you something you will not hear often enough. You do not need closure to move on. You just need courage. I did not get justice. I got something better. I got my life back. And this time I am the one writing it page by page without apology.